Hi, my name is Alice Paul, and this is Draw My Life. My childhood. I was born on January 11th, 1885, in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I was the oldest of four children, and my mother was Stacy Paul and my father William Paul. Both of my parents embraced gender equality and education for women. My mother was a suffragist and often brought me to her women's suffrage meetings. I attended a school in nearby Morristown. Here, I was influenced by my Quaker family, and I later studied at Swarthmore College in 1905. And then I went on to do graduate work in New York City and England. In 1907, I received my Master of Arts degree in sociology. I then went to England to study social work. While in England, I met American Lucy Burns, and I was able to join the women's suffrage efforts there. There, I was able to learn militant protest tactics, including picketing and hunger strikes. Using this knowledge, when I went back to the United States in 1912, I and Burns joined the National American Women's Suffrage Association. After joining the National American Women's Suffrage Association, I realized that they primarily focused on state by state campaigns. However, I preferred to lobby Congress for a constitutional amendment. Because of this, it led me and others to split and form the National Women's Party. From the National Women's Party, I was able to organize parades and pickets in support of suffrage. My first and my largest was in Washington, D.C. on March 3rd, 1913. In January 1917, I began 18 months of picketing the White House, and I stood at the gates with signs that said, "Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty?" Instead of instead of being protected by the right to free speech and peaceful assembly, I was arrested on the charge of obstructing traffic. Because of this, I was sentenced to jail for 7 months. But I organized a hunger strike in protest. Doctors threatened to send me to an insane asylum and force feed me. Although this may seem like a failure, I was able to gain newspaper accounts that garnered public sympathy and support for suffrage. Soon enough, by 1918, President Wilson announced his support for suffrage. It took almost 2 years for the Senate, House, and the 36 states to approve this amendment, but eventually it was done. After the Civil War, women were forced to return back to having limited rights and privileges, and including the right to not be able to vote. Because of this, and because of my background of Quaker faith and the belief that women and men are equal, this is why I chose to focus on women's suffrage. Some of my successes include that through picketing, I was able to allow the 19th Amendment to be ratified, and this allowed for women to be able to vote. However, I had many critics, including the federal government, who believed that I was a menace and that I was being unpatriotic because of my beliefs. And another failure that I had was that my Equal Rights Amendment that I worked really hard to ratify ended up not ratifying. However, in 1977, I would die before the Equal Rights Amendment would be able to be ratified. 3 states short of 38 that would have allowed it to become a constitutional amendment. My life symbolizes the long struggle for justice in the United States and around the world. My vision was that women and men should be equal partners in society. And as we continue on in generations, this vision has become more and more of a reality.